what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Friday morning to you all. Hope everyone is doing well out there this morning and having a great start to your day, great ending to your week, beginning to your weekend, whatever it may be for you folks out there. Got you some updated information on what's going to happen weather-wise for your Friday. Of course, yesterday was very active for certain areas of the country. Like southern Wisconsin, areas of Illinois had confirmed tornadoes. So, especially southern Wisconsin, Vince, I know a lot of people who are active in the storm chasing community or either just the weather community in general and like to watch a live feed from Storm Chasers. He was on some action in southern Wisconsin last night, and it looked like something out of a horror movie. It looked like, if I know some people, maybe have bad dreams about weather or something, tornadoes, whatever it may be. But, it looked like something that you would have a bad dream about, like the lightning illuminating the tornado. If you haven't watched it, check out Vince. I can't pronounce his last name. Check out his live feed. All you have to do is type in Vince on YouTube and Storm Chasing, and his channel, I'm sure, will come up. But check out his live feed from last night. It was wild. So I hope you guys are well out there in southern Wisconsin this morning. I think it did do some damage. So, let me know what you're hearing from that area. I know it was around the Janesville area, but let me know what you're seeing and hearing about in that region of the country this morning. But after we move past today's forecast, we're going to speak on updated information on this winter storm that's going to crank up this weekend into early next week. This is going to bring a stripe of heavy accumulating snow for areas of the country. So we're going to speak on that. Talk about how it could be a pretty substantial winter storm for areas of the Northeast. I mean, even areas of like the Panhandle, Texas, and Oklahoma could get a good bit of snow from this. So we'll speak on a little bit on the severe weather side of this system. That will bring a severe weather chance for areas of the South. And then we'll give you a little bit of information on that time frame I've been watching. Not going to get as detailed as I did last night, but I just kind of want things to settle for that time frame. Models are everywhere. There's some question marks. So we're not going to talk on it too heavily. Going to speak mainly on this storm system right in front of us. So if you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. Take advantage of those timestamps in this video. They're there to help you folks. If you don't care about what's going to happen weather-wise for today, you'll be able to jump over to certain sections of the video you want to watch. And if you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put those in the comments below. I'm asking for prayers for my boss's daughter who... they're not sure what's going on. I'll just leave it at that. It's a very scary situation. I believe she's only like 11 or 12 years old. So asking just for prayers over that situation for her health. So thank you for that. So let's get rocking and rolling this morning. Got some rain skirting across areas in the Mid-South. Some heavier rounds of rain also. I think we'll get some thunderstorms in areas of Arkansas today as we get into this afternoon, this evening. And some could be strong to severe. I don't think we're going to get any strong to severe storms again today in areas of the Midwest like we saw yesterday afternoon and evening. But a little bit of moisture, even a thin line of heavier rain. Almost looks like a line of thunderstorms starting to move out of Canada into sections of the interior sections of the Northeast. But I don't think there's much lightning or thunder with this, if any at all. That spin continues to plague areas of the northern Great Lakes region. Just rain, a little bit of snow on the colder backside end of this, but you guys continue just to be snowless up here. I know, Steven, you showed me a picture yesterday of the UP of Michigan and how there's basically hardly any snow cover on the ground anymore. Just wild. Just wild. It really is. Really a pathetic winter again, I'll be honest, for a good chunk of the country. I would say the only area, honestly, of the country for the central and eastern U.S. that have seen an above average winter that would there's a lot of people that would probably say, okay, I would be fine scooting to spring even if I am a winter weather fan, as areas of the Mid-South. Tennessee, of course, got the blockbuster winter storm 3-4 weeks ago. Areas of Kentucky have seen a nice winter, especially eastern Kentucky. And we know that, northern Alabama, areas of Arkansas, northern Mississippi have seen a winter storm already. But that's really the only area that could really say and it'd be a fact that you guys have pretty much already met your average as far as snowfall. It really is. So not going to speak on that as far as the western U.S. because everything's different out there, but you get what I'm saying. So that's what's going on right now. Storm Prediction Center, there is a risk of severe weather. There's just a level 1 out of 5, so not a huge risk. We'll see if this increases later this morning. It could. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, Mitch, this is a slight risk now, that is a possibility. But right now, just a marginal risk. This does include Little Rock to the Boo Hill, Missouri, almost all the way to Evansville, Indiana. It does include Memphis. Might as well include Dyersburg, Jackson, Mississippi. So we do need to watch out for some strong to severe storms. Tornado threat's below a 2%, but you never can rule it out. Wind threat below a 5%, but there is a chance for some hail. So watch out with that portion of the severe weather. Definitely could get some small hail in these kind of setups, especially if these systems, well, these storms could get somewhat discreet, maybe become a supercell or two out there for sure. Move out there to a flash flooding risk. It's below 5%, so I don't think we have a big issue with flash flooding today. Flooding could be more of a concern as we move deeper into this weekend, though. Watches, warnings, advisories. It's very quiet, but as you can tell in the teal color, that is winter storm watches that have been issued for like Amarillo, areas of northern Texas, the panhandle of Texas, really more so. One county in the panhandle of Oklahoma, and we still do have winter storm watches up for like Denver and areas of Colorado and northeast sections of New Mexico. Some winter weather advisories scattered about out west in the Rockies. We do have some winter weather advisories up for 2 counties in northern Maine. So let's talk about the southeast today and what's expected. For the immediate southeast, not a whole lot. Now, some rain showers will move through Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee. Could get heavier bursts of rain. They'll move all the way into the Appalachian Mountains here, as you can tell. Maybe a more consolidated area of rain is possible in southwest Virginia, even getting into West Virginia, eastern Kentucky, and just some scattered showers about, nothing too substantial whatsoever, but it's right over here is what you're starting to watch. You see these splotches of orange and reds over here. That's where we could start to get some strong to severe storms. And we'll kind of zoom into this area once we get to the south central frame, so hang with me there. But everybody else in the immediate southeast, just kind of isolated, I would say more so showers. I think Georgia, the Carolinas will stay mainly dry. But as you get into the overnight hours, this is when this low starts to really get going. And then we could get some more upstream development of these heavier showers and storms that begin to take over a good chunk of Tennessee, moving into southern Kentucky. We could definitely get some rumbles of thunder overnight tonight in these states. And waking up Saturday morning to definitely a steady to heavy rain moving across Tennessee, Kentucky, starting to move into the Appalachian Mountains, and even some storms still ongoing down here in areas of Mississippi and along the Gulf coastline of Louisiana and Texas. Moving up to the northeast, pretty quiet. I think that this thin layer of rain, thin area of rain moving out of Canada into the U.S., into the northeast, I think will kind of dwindle away. Could get some snow up in northern Maine later this afternoon. Then we start to get some folks, it's February 10th. I know we're starting to get a little bit later in the winter, but this all should be snow. But we're seeing rain, and not just rain, but it looks like a convective element to it, meaning, you're going to get some like burst of heavier rain, not like a light, cold rain. Some of this could be light rain, but you're going to get some like burst of just flat out rain in these areas. And this continues, and it's got a little bit, there's just enough cold air up in Maine for some of this to fall in the form of maybe some sleet, some freezing rain. But even up here, you're struggling with cold air. Just really, I know I've already said it, but just honestly, just a pathetic winter. Now, some people are thinking, Mitch, you're saying pathetic, but we're happy. But guys, I speak on favorability towards winter weather, and I know I do have people, more people than that like winter weather, that don't like winter weather, that tune in. But you guys, I'm always biased towards winter weather. I love me some snow. Speaking of snow and, and winter weather, well, snow and pizza, I don't know if you guys know, but I made a pact with myself on social media saying I can't eat pizza until my area gets some snow or it gets under a winter storm warning. And your boy has not ate pizza since the 30th of December, which if you're thinking, Mitch, that's not a big deal. For me, it is. It is a very big deal because I'm a big pizza guy. So I guess in a way it's helping my discipline, but I might just have to break that pact if we don't end up getting anything here in South Carolina. And today's National Pizza Day, so it's going to be even harder. As you can tell, there's the pizza icon down here. Anyways, rambling for a minute and a half there. Out in the south central U.S., waking up some showers, even some storm action in Arkansas. As we get into this afternoon, we start to get these showers that start to develop here in northeast Texas, Texarkana region. And if you look right here, some of these could be strong and severe. They look a little bit isolated, some showers down here in areas of southeast Texas. And we'll kind of just move right on through this. And we're going to zoom in Arkansas here in a second, surrounding states. But I do want to show you guys kind of the beginning stages of our winter storm. You see this low developing right in here. Here's a big area of rain kind of surging through central Texas, and there's the snow beginning to fall in New Mexico, a little bit of snow action in Colorado. So this is the beginning stages of the winter storm update that I'm about to talk to you guys about here in a second. But let's zoom into Arkansas. As we get into this afternoon, it's about midday, then we're getting into this afternoon. Check out these storms firing. Mary, watch out in northeast Texas. These storms could produce some hail, some gusty winds. You can't rule out a tornado, but I don't think the tornado threat is going to be that high today, but you cannot rule it out. But I think these storms form mainly northeast of Dallas. But then they start going here, and, you know, they could grow up scale as we get into later this afternoon, this evening. And these could produce some hail. They really could, you know. This looks to be the most active around 8 p.m. just west of Little Rock, but watch out. These storms will continue to move through, sort of combine more into more of a linear look, meaning more of a line. But these could be packing a punch later tonight. So if you got any outdoor activities in Little Rock tonight, or anybody in Arkansas, definitely be weather aware. And then we start to get to just after midnight, and it's rumbling and thundering out here in the Boot Hill, Missouri. Memphis getting some thunderstorms, and you're still storming pretty good in Little Rock if this is the way it actually plays out. And then we start to get into Saturday morning, and things might begin to chill out a little bit more. But moving up towards the north central U.S., a lot more calm conditions compared to what we saw yesterday, especially areas of Wisconsin and Illinois. But as we get into this afternoon, this evening, I could get some light flurry snow shower activity up here in areas of northern Minnesota. Snowing in sections of the country where it should be snowing this time of the year. We haven't even had any kind of like lake effect snow over the last few weeks, and that's just because we haven't had any really cold air moving across the Great Lakes region. And you know, as we're starting to get into tomorrow morning, we could begin to see some snow making its way into western Nebraska. A little bit of snow shower activity is possible in the UP and Michigan, but not expecting much out of this. We get a little bit deeper into our Saturday, and, you know, like I said, just not a whole lot. So we move out west. The common theme out here is just kind of just scattered. There's a big area of low pressure, broad area of low pressure out here. So under this low, you're definitely going to just get scattered snow showers, kind of snow squally kind of weather, out here across Nevada, the higher elevations of Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, western Montana, and areas of the Rockies of like Colorado, even all the way down into northern Arizona. And that'll be the common theme. The only other area of weather we'll watch for is just some moisture that begins to make its way into western Oregon, western Washington State. And this moisture will continue just to kind of fly around out in the Rockies. But then as we're waking up tomorrow morning, this is when things could really start to crank up with this winter storm in areas of the southern high plains. So we'll speak on that here in a second. But snowfall between now and tomorrow morning, you know, just some light to moderate snowfall accumulations adding up. Looks like the Bighorn Mountains of Wyoming could pick up several inches of snow, and we start to add up the snow here across just the Rockies in general. And somebody could get just a few inches, but I mean, even has the lower elevations of like Idaho mixing with a little bit of snow could get some. You got just enough cold air in these lower elevations to, you know, maybe see a burst of snow that could put some snow on elevated surfaces, maybe grassy surfaces. So be aware of that. Temperatures today is kind of day one of the big warm up across the east. We talked about this over the last few videos. Haven't talked about it much over the last couple videos, but we mentioned it, and we're warming up big time. This is ridiculous. I mean, look at this. We're getting into the mid 60s in Detroit. We're getting into the 50s, even some 60s in southern Ontario. I mean, it might hit 60 degrees in the Finger Lakes region of New York. It's just very warm. I mean, find where you are, and yeah, I mean, just a very warm day expected for these areas. And where it's raining, it's just going to be a warm rain. Look at these temperatures in Arkansas, warming into the 70s. So definitely a warm day. It's definitely chillier out west, average to slightly below average temperatures depending on where you are. But it's definitely just in general colder because you have lower pressure overhead, just more weather ongoing out here for sure. All right, to give you an update on this storm system, and that's going to crank up in the south central U.S. And we'll start off Saturday morning, and we are starting to get in range of the HRRR model. So I'll show you this first, and we'll get this in motion here, and you can see all this rain falling across central and eastern Texas, heavy rain in northern Louisiana, kind of moving into areas of the deep south. I think you guys will get a lot of rain, but it's right here. that you're really starting to watch out for. Snow is falling pretty heavily across New Mexico, areas of Colorado, the panhandle of Oklahoma. And then as we start to get to, like, I would say Saturday night, this is when the snow could potentially begin to fall pretty heavily. And the panhandle of Oklahoma and Texas, a little bit of light to moderate snow getting into areas of Kansas also. Watch out Dodge City. And then we see the storms developing down here also, and sort of like west central Texas. Heavier rain beginning to move into southern Oklahoma. And this is really the beginning stages. I wouldn't say the beginning stages. You're right in the middle of a winter storm right here in this area of the country. And you kind of continue this on the global model of the European. And I mean, it continues, folks. We get into Sunday morning, snowing pretty heavily, even south of Amarillo. Getting close to Lubbock could get some snow. And there's the low right there starting to eject across the country. It's all rain from most of Oklahoma outside the panhandle and northern Texas. All rain in these areas, snowing pretty good in eastern New Mexico. And we keep this going. And, you know, when are you going to switch to snow for Oklahoma City, Tulsa? The Oklahoma City to Tulsa is a big question mark. It really is. How long do you stay at rain? Do you switch to snow pretty quickly? It's a big question mark. We're a lot more confident in like extreme western areas of Oklahoma and the panhandle of Texas, and even this section of Texas right into here. Keep this going, and this is when you have a chance to switch to snow in Oklahoma. But I'm going to tell you, the global models are backing off from snow in Oklahoma City and Tulsa and these regions right here, even into Missouri. You know, they're kind of backing off, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to see it. I think there's a high-end potential with this still. But you continue to get into your Sunday night, Monday morning, and then it has a better put-together area of snow in the northwest sections of Arkansas, Missouri. Well, we could have a period of accumulating snow as we're getting late Sunday night, like after midnight into Monday morning, maybe even into our Monday afternoon. You can see it's snowing in southern sections of Illinois as this is pulling on out. Now, we look at the snowfall forecast, and let's see if we have any updated information, and we do. Here it is. It's already starting to show a little bit of snow forecast for areas of Missouri and even southeast Kansas. But you look in the panhandle of Texas, they're already going for over a half a foot of snow. Not a whole lot kind of outside of the higher terrain of Colorado, but still going for a few inches of snow in Denver. And we're going to zoom into these areas here in a second, but I just want you guys to see that broad look at it and see what's going on here. And we kind of look at the European with this too, and it's not a whole lot different. It gets kind of weird once you get a little bit further east in Oklahoma, and once you start to get into Missouri and Arkansas, and you got this weird stripe of really heavy accumulating snow in areas of southern Illinois, but not a whole lot different. But you know, you look at the GFS, and it's very splotchy, very weird looking. I don't buy this. I do buy a lot of heavy snow falling around Amarillo Point south, but I don't buy a foot of snow falling just south of Springfield, Missouri, or into the Ozarks of Oklahoma. I don't buy that at all. You kind of zoom into some of these individual graphics. It's the one out of Colorado. Denver going for 2 to 3 inches of snow. Castle Rock 3 to 4. Colorado Springs 4 to 6. Lyman 2 to 3, if I pronounce that right. You get the Fort Morgan, Sterling, 1 to 3 inches of snow possible. So find where you are in this map if you're viewing from this area. And then we move a little bit further south in Colorado. A little bit heavier accumulations expected. Woodland Park, 6 to 10 inches of snow. Even getting out here in the plateau, kind of in eastern sections of the high plains of Colorado. Kim, 4 to 9 inches of snow, pretty wide variety there. 3 to 7 inches in Springfield. So definitely pockets of pretty heavy snow expected. Trinidad, 4 to 9. So Colorado Springs, I think 4 to 7 is what they're going for, around that range. So yeah, a good bit of snow in these areas, folks, and this is something we need to watch out for. And then we move down to Amarillo. Amarillo going for around 4 to 5 inches of snow. This is in Texas. Wellington, 4.9, getting very exact there. But it really likes the area just south of Amarillo. And we're going to zoom in a little bit further south of Amarillo in these later updates from these videos and kind of get a better idea in these areas. But what's the wild thing? You look at Boise City going for 5 inches of snow, but up the road in Guyman, only 2 inches of snow. So it's very everywhere, right? There's no, A lot of snow down here, not as much snow right up here. So, this is going to be a tough one. It really is. I think this will be a heavy, wet snow, and it just kind of depends on when you flip to this snow in these cases. But you go on and you flip to the eastern U.S., and this is what we're looking at. We kind of start this Monday evening, and here it comes. The models kind of continue that southern look to it. I mean, we getting into Monday nights, folks, and it's snowing pretty good. Into Pennsylvania, I mean, it's snowing in Ohio, kind of southern Ohio. We kind of backed this up a little bit. It looks like you're going to struggle. I don't think this is going to be any kind of big event for you folks in Ohio. And I know you guys have not seen no substantial events whatsoever. A lot of people haven't, guys. A lot of people haven't. But you start to get into, let's take it all the way to Tuesday morning. I mean, this is a pretty big time, quick hitting winter storm. Now, big time as in 1 to 2 feet of snow? No, but this is a quick moving, heavy accumulating snow that moves in. Could get 1 to 2 inch per hour rates depending on wherever it's snowing. And we're getting into the 13th, Tuesday morning. It's snowing pretty good in New York City. It's snowing into Boston. Excuse me, southern New England. I mean, it's a quick hitting, substantial winter storm. It is. But you get down here into DC, Baltimore, you're going to struggle. It's probably going to stay mainly rain, but who knows? We'll have to see what happens here. But this is a tricky forecast for southern New England and Northeast. But if something like the Euro happens, this will be the most snow you've seen all winter. In New York City, for example, and potentially even Boston. And then this moves out as we get into our Tuesday evening. See how quick it moves in and out? Okay. Moves in, starts snowing like early Tuesday morning. And let's just use New York City as a pivot point here. And then by the time you get into like late Tuesday afternoon, it's over. It's like a quick hitting, like 12 to 18 hour winter storm. The GFS continues this more robust scenario, kind of takes the same track as the Euro. So, if this ends up taking this southerly track, you got to tip your hat to the GFS because the GFS shifted south before the Euro did. But I do think that this could tick a little bit further north as we get closer to verification. But, we get into Tuesday morning, it's an all-out snowstorm in New York City, Long Island. It's snowing even in southeast and eastern sections of Pennsylvania, snowing in almost all of Pennsylvania. Snow is trying to get all the way down to as far south as northern VA. Getting a little bit of snow potentially in Baltimore, but it looks like it's staying mainly rain, all rain for DC. But, it hits southern New England pretty good, the I-95 corridor. It really does. And you kind of keep this going, and this is Tuesday afternoon, and this is very heavy snow over Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Long Island. You guys are getting hit pretty good with this. And then it moves on out. And then, you look at snowfall accumulations from this, and the European has a stripe of very heavy snow. It's weird out here in the Ohio Valley. It really is. It's going to be a tough one. The Euro likes this thin corridor of 5 to 8 inches of snow in southern sections of Illinois and a little bit less in southern Indiana. I don't know if I buy this, but there is going to be, I think, a thin corridor of accumulating snow in this area right into here. But then we get into Ohio. It gets really splotchy. Ohio is going to be a state that we're probably going to have to just tweak as we get a little bit closer. But Pennsylvania, depending on where you are, stands a good shot of accumulating snow. It's just trying to figure out who. I think central to northern PA definitely will get accumulating snow. But we kind of just zoom into this a little bit for you folks. And yeah, I knew it was going to do that. And we kind of go back out to this storm. Come on, where are you? What are you doing? And there it is, and you got a very thin corridor of like 6 to 10 inches of snow that goes kind of right in the middle of Pennsylvania through northern New Jersey, southern New York State. There's a tight gradient right in here of nothing to a lot. And, it has a couple areas getting around a foot of snow and a pretty decent snowstorm for New York City. Now, you look at the GFS with this and what this shows. It is a lot more substantial. This would be a major winter storm. You got widespread 12 to 16 inch snowfall totals showing up, with New York City getting close to a foot. I'm not saying New York City is going to get a foot. I'm just saying this is what the GFS is showing, which is probably a little overdone. It typically is. So we'll certainly watch out. A little bit more of a broad look at the GFS there. kind of where the Europeans trying to give like 5 to 8 inches of snow in southern Illinois, the GFS says it's not going to give you anything. So it just tells you how different the scenarios are there. And we kind of go up to our friends up here in Nova Scotia, Newfoundland. The European is very close to a big winter storm for Nova Scotia. It really hits the southern coastlines of Nova Scotia pretty hard as we're getting into Tuesday afternoon. And then it really hits Newfoundland pretty good. And, you guys don't really need any more snow unless you're like me and will take all the snow you can get, regardless if it buries you in your house or not. But we got to watch this storm for you folks. I talked about this last night. Newfoundland, this says, you got a 952 millibar low. That is a strong low pressure, folks. And this could be a major blizzard for Newfoundland. Not saying that is what's going to happen, but as we get into midway next week, Wednesday, it does some wonky stuff. And, the European, as far as how much snow it's showing, and y'all go by centimeters out here, but, it shows feet of snow for a good section of Newfoundland. And, it's very close to doing something more substantial for Nova Scotia, but the worst of the snow is just offshore to the south. So we need to watch these areas for sure. There's going to be a severe weather side to this. Saturday, there will be a threat, a very small risk of tornadoes in this area. So we need to be aware of this. We'll talk more on this in the coming videos. There's a marginal risk right now. We'll see if this upgrades to a slight risk. This is for southern and south central areas of Texas. And then a more substantial risk of severe weather as far as Sunday for areas of the deep south. Eastern Texas through the heart of Louisiana and through south central Mississippi to a very small section of Alabama has a level 2 out of 5 risk. We're probably going to get a 5% risk of a tornado in this area and a chance of damaging winds. So we'll talk more on this when the details are ironed out. But going forward, guys, we don't know what's going to happen in this time frame I've been talking about. I'm going to breeze through this pretty quickly, but what we do know is we're going to have cold air on top. We're going to have moisture to the south. What does these two things do? Do they meet somewhere? It's a weird kind of orientation of the cold air. It really is. You got a 50-50 low over here. Cold air is kind of sliding in, but the position of this trough is not that favorable in my opinion. We got moisture bubbling up, though. This moisture is beginning to creep north. Remember, the Euro only goes out 10 days, 240 hours out. And you got a little Gulf flow down here, and we got cold air hanging on for dear life in the eastern U.S. If you were to keep this run of the Euro going, what would it do? I'm not sure. It would probably bring a little winter weather into areas of the eastern U.S. Maybe a lot. But you're getting some weird ridging right into here. And just some weird stuff's going on as we get later into the long range. It is. And you look at the GFS. The GFS has, northern stream energy up here delivering some heavy snow. And, it goes back to what I've told you in the south. You need cold air in place. And if the GFS is correct, I would say even if the Euro is correct, you don't have any cold air in place. It could be getting in place, but, the GFS, a little bit quicker with this, and it plows a low right into the southeast, and there's no cold air. And you can see on the northern fringe of this trying to bring some winter weather for Virginia, but it never does anything. We had some wild runs from the GFS yesterday, though. And then after that, what happens? I don't know. I really don't. I know that we're going to have some threats of some winter weather, and I think even as we get into the last several days of February, it could get kind of wild. But we really need to figure out what's right out in front of us first. And we'll talk more on this throughout the weekend. And I know I didn't get very detailed with you folks, but I think we just need to let this iron itself out, and figure itself out. So, sorry, I felt like I kind of struggled through that video. I'm having some incongestion issues. I'm having, not incongestion, but some nasal issues is what I meant to say. My nose is running a little bit. But that's all I got, guys. Y'all have a great Friday. God bless all y'all, and I'll talk to you soon.